This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below.
We talked about it earlier that the Hall of Fame game is here, and that means that football is back. What's also back is padded practices. The Browns had a padded practice today in Greenbrier, West Virginia. Some news came out of that. Some information about what the Browns have looked like at practice over the week has also come out. The first thing is the Deontay Foreman situation. So Deontay Foreman got hit in the head, was immobilized for a little while. It's a very scary situation at Browns practice, but the news seems to be good. Within an hour of him being airlifted to the hospital, reports were that he was moving all of his extremities and that he was in good spirits. And last I've heard, he's actually been cleared to be released from the hospital and he's all good. So it was just a scare. It wasn't anything super serious or super tragic, which is great for Deontay Foreman's just health. Obviously, you don't want to see somebody go through a health situation. Secondly, it's good for the Cleveland Browns because Deontay Foreman is going to be a big part of what the Browns want to do at the beginning of the season, depending on what Nick Chubb's health looks like. So it's good that it seems like if he wants to, he could practice tomorrow. But you know, we'll see. They'll probably take it slow with him there. Doesn't seem like there was any kind of spinal injury or any kind of serious brain trauma outside of being just knocked out. Unfortunate hit there that he took. So good stuff there. Love to hear it. Another thing you love to hear, seems like from all reports, DeShawn Watson looks very comfortable. He's thrown only one interception since practice has started down there in Greenbrier. Keep in mind, they did the first day of padded practice. I know he threw an interception to Grant Delpit, where he just kind of threw a ball over the middle. Grant did a great job of lurking it and stealing it. Good on good. And honestly, if what I think you should want as a Browns fan isn't offense is dominating or defense is dominating. You want to see them go back and forth. You want to see Deshun Watson throw some interceptions, not because you want to see him throw interceptions, but because you want to see the defense get interceptions. You want to see the defense win some games, some days in practice, and you want to see the offense win some days in practice. The sign of a good team is a team that can go back and forth. So we know this defense is good. We know they provide a significant challenge to the Cleveland Browns first team offense. I mean, you're going up against the best defense in the world every day if you're the Cleveland Browns offense. So it's good testing there, right? You're going to throw some interceptions. Who didn't throw an interception versus the Cleveland Browns defense last year? And it's good news that Deshun Watson reportedly looks a lot more comfortable, crisp out there than he has in years past. Now, honestly, the training camp reports have always been pretty solid on Deshun Watson. It's always been reported that he's doing well in camp. That's never really been the issue with him. So I don't think that's going to be that different this year. We know he can practice. The issue is, can he stay on the field? Can he stay healthy? And for Deshun Watson, this change that the Browns are going on the offensive side, even though it's a new offensive coordinator, it's really more of a natural change for him on offense. So I expect there to be less time to transition to this than what he's been doing the last 2 years, where it's been a completely different philosophy on the offensive side of the football. This should be a lot easier of a transition. There's still going to be a transition period, right? It's still doing something differently. And that's going to happen, but I don't expect that it should take as long as maybe the other two transitions that he's been through. So that's good. From a health standpoint, Deshun Watson seems full go at this point. I know there was a concern because he shut it down after one pass last week or some point during the weekend. That does not seem like anything serious. He seems full go. He's practicing in pads. He's doing team drills. At this point, I think it's time we start to consider whether he should be playing in the preseason or not. If you know me, you know that I am anti-bubble wrap when it comes to getting guys prepared for the season. I know a lot of people have this tendency to live in their fears when it comes to injury, and for a good enough reason, and want the Browns to basically bubble wrap their best players until week 1 so that they know everybody's going to be healthy on week 1. And I think while that's a good strategy to get everybody to week 1, I don't know if that's a good strategy to get everybody through the year. There's no conclusive evidence that playing somebody in the preseason negatively affects their ability to stay healthy for the rest of the year on average. There's some evidence that suggests that playing players in the preseason, playing guys doing full contact, getting their bodies used to that contact earlier actually does help them build up more of a resistance when it comes to staying healthy. Me personally, and this is just my personal belief, I think you got to play football to prepare for football, which means that you want these guys to play a little bit in the preseason. With DeShawn Watson specifically, I think he needs to know mentally that shoulder can take a hit before he goes out there and plays against Micah Parsons week 1, right? I don't think that's where you want that on the mind for Deshun Watson. You want him to get the preseason out. I would say play him in 2 games. Let him get hit a couple of times, not on purpose, but let him take a couple of hits. Let him know that, hey, the shoulder's going to be fine. It's going to withstand it. So by the time you get to week 1, it's not something on his mind. Now, you can live in the fear of saying, oh, well, what if something happens to him? What if he gets hurt? This and that. Can't live in your fears when it comes to football. You just got to prepare him the best way. And I think this is part of preparing him the best way for week 1. I want to set him up for success in week 1. And I think that's part of it. We'll see what happens. We'll see how Kevin plays it. It seems like it's something that should be on the table at this point. He's definitely going to be doing team practice, team drills during the joint practice week in a couple of weeks. But yeah, as far as Deshun Watson, his injury status goes, it's basically non-existent. He's ready to go. I think that's pretty obvious when you look at the plan there. As far as other injuries go, Dalvin Tomlinson might not be back for the start of the season. There's no update on Greg Newsome yet, but he's another one where a lot of people are wondering if he's going to start the season. I'm not 100% sure. The Greg Newsome one, I think you can live with Greg Newsome showing up a little late because you do have Cam Mitchell. The Dalvin Tomlinson one is a little bit more concerning to me because I don't know what the plan is if Dalvin Tomlinson can't go out there because he's the only NFL player you have at that nose tackle position. Yeah, you could put Siaki Ika there, but I've not been impressed with what he's been able to do as a nose tech at all when I've seen him in games. Even going through this rewatch, we're at the part of the season where Siaki Ika is playing a lot, and I'm not impressed. I don't think that's an NFL player at this point. Maybe he's done something over the offseason and changed that, but he also lost weight this season, so this offseason, so it seems like he was preparing to be more of a 3-tech. Now he's going to have to be in this 1-tech kind of hybrid position that they have Dalvin playing. I think, honestly, this just means more snaps for Michael Hall in the long run, but I have concerns about that because Michael Hall and like having Maurice Hurst and Michael Hall or Shelby Harris and Michael Hall as your 3-techs, that's going to really hurt you in the run game if teams want to go up the middle, especially since you're not super deep at linebacker. I think that there's some holes that can be created there because of that. So I'm more worried about the Dalvin thing, him coming back from that knee scope versus the Greg Newsome one. I think we have a good, sufficient plan for anybody in the secondary that gets injured when it comes to that defensive line, especially the space, the literal space that Dalvin Tomlinson occupies. I don't think that's an easy thing to replicate with what you have on the roster. Not saying you don't have other good players there, but look at what Dalvin Tomlinson is asked to do, and look at what you have on the roster. You just don't have anybody else who can do that. Doesn't mean it's going to be a disaster if he can't be out there for week 1, or it makes the Browns, automatic loser in week 1 if he's not out there. But it's not going to be something that helps him. Speaking of things that can help them, Jerry Jeudy came back to practice today. He's still not in team drills. He was only doing individual drills, but it's nice to see him get back out there. Really excited to see if Jerry Jeudy can put in some work during the preseason, get to see him in full pads, full gear, and really get to see what him and DeShawn Watson, that connection is going to look like, because they never played with each other before. And I really am interested to see if he can make that leap. It seems like all the vibes and stuff are good with Jerry Jeudy, right? We talked about that coming into the season, where you want the vibes to be better. You want him to feel like he's at a better place. From everything that Kevin said in his presser, it feels like that's the case with Jerry Jeudy. Now it's just about him being able to participate in team drills and getting to a health place where he can be that. And once he gets there, we'll see what he has there. Now, another wide receiver that's been showing out during the camp period, Cedric Tillman. He's been looking good. I heard good things about Cedric Tillman in OTAs. I heard good things about Cedric Tillman in mini camps. And now I'm seeing good things from Cedric Tillman in training camp, right? There was this nice little 40-yard touchdown him and DeShawn Watson connected on. This is the exact kind of offseason that Cedric Tillman, quite frankly, needed to make sure that he can reach his potential as an NFL player. The issue with Cedric Tillman was never his talent. The issue with Cedric Tillman was never his ability. It was always the can I trust him factor as a wide receiver. Cedric Tillman had demonstrated a couple of times that he is not to be trusted, because of how he has operated in games, or have forgotten what he's supposed to do, not cutting when he's supposed to cut, not knowing which play call is what, or what got checked or what. That seems to be something that he has made a change on, and he's gotten better. And to be fair to Cedric Tillman, he came out that Josh Heupel Tennessee offense, and a lot of people don't understand how weird that offense is. And one of the things that I think did open up a lot of people's eyes to how weird that offense is, and how much that offense doesn't prepare you to be an NFL wide receiver, is when people opened up College Football 25 and played with Tennessee and went, oh my God, what is this offense? Where's the straight lines? Where are the slants? And I think that opened up a lot of people to go, oh man, these wide receivers. It's kind of like the Baylor offense back in the day when Josh Gordon and Corey Coleman came out of that one. There was a concern that people coming out of that Baylor offense really didn't know how to play football. That's something that happens in college football, right? These programs are built to win college football games, not necessarily built to develop NFL football players, which means that sometimes what develops a player to play wide receiver versus what helps you win on a Saturday, not really two things that go together. So you just go with what helps you win, right? And that doesn't necessarily develop those players the best, which is why you got to take production from college football with a grain of salt when it comes to a draft prospect, because that's always at the top of your mind, that these guys were preparing to win games in a system that was made to win games, not necessarily to develop players. And a lot of that happens in college football. It's why scouts love pro style offenses in college football, because those give a good baseline for college players to transition to the NFL. It's why they will basically draft anybody 10 spots higher who came out of a pro style offense, whether it's warranted or not. Sometimes it's not. But the Browns' first padded practice, Deontay Foreman situation, scary, but it sounds like it's going to be fine. Deshun Watson looks very comfortable. It's exactly what you want to hear. Looks like he's throwing the ball well. Looks like the injury thing is not really a concern. And now we should probably turn our focus on if he's going to play during the preseason. I think he should. Dalvin Tomlinson might not be back for the start of the season. I think that's a bigger concern than Greg Newsome being out. Jerry Jeudy returning to practice. Really want to see what he looks like with DeShawn Watson. And Cedric Tillman having an impressive camp, which is exactly what he's needed. And also, if Cedric Tillman can get some serious time on this offense, I think that just opens up things for you even more. Like I have a saying, when you think you have enough wide receivers, add one more. You never have enough wide receivers, right? Like there's always room for more wide receivers or more good wide receivers, because that position can get destroyed with injuries, that position can get destroyed with different matchups. Like, you want to have as many options as possible when it comes to your receiver. So if Cedric Tillman's playing well and he's going to be a useful player for the Cleveland Browns this year, I mean, I'm all open to that. But that's it. Y'all let me know how y'all feel in the comment section below. Everybody have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.